AI loses its mind after being trained on AI-generated data. Summarized by News AI, which is a GPT-based summarization newsletter website. Feeding AI-generated content to AI models can cause their output quality to deteriorate, according to a new study by scientists at Rice and Stanford University. The researchers found that without enough fresh real data in each generation of an orthophagous loop, future generative models are doomed to have their quality or diversity progressively decrease, a condition they term model autophagy disorder (MAD). The study suggests that AI models trained on synthetic content will start to lose outlying, less represented information and pull from increasingly converging and less varied data, leading to a decrease in output quality. The implications of this research are significant, as AI models are widely trained on scraped online data and are becoming increasingly intertwined with the Internet's infrastructure. AI models have been trained by scraping troves of existing online data. And the more data fed to a model, the better it gets. However, as AI becomes more prevalent on the Internet, it becomes harder for AI companies to ensure that their training datasets do not include synthetic content, potentially affecting the quality and structure of the open web. The study also raises questions about the usefulness of AI systems without human input, as the results show that AI models trained solely on synthetic content are not very useful. The researchers suggest that adjusting model weights could help mitigate the negative effects of training AI models on AI-generated data. Source: photocopies of photocopies of photocopies. It's surprisingly startling the parallels between organic systems and artificial intelligence. It's kind of like a gene pool that isn't diverse enough. Edit grammar. So, when the Ash take over, they're not to murder us like in Terminator or use us for batteries like in The Matrix or manipulate us into doing favors for strangers like in Mrs. Davis. Instead, they're going to make us spend all day arguing with each other on the Internet so they'll have a constant supply of fresh human-generated content to feed on. Perhaps they already have. We can rebuild him. We have the technology. We can make him better than he was. Better, stronger, faster. We will feed him Reddit user comments. Training AI on AI content gives it mad AI disease. This is what happens to everyone's shitty uncle on Facebook too. Garbage in, garbage out. Well, if AI does ever take over, this will be useful information to remember, lol. Now writers can find new jobs. AI data feeder. I think it's been known for ages with other machine learning algorithms. Instead of learning the content, they can end up learning the quirks of the AI that generated the content. I wonder if people can develop ways to solve this. E.g., some sort of secondary AI that tries to judge the quality of the input. What happens to humans trained on AI-generated data? We're all consuming this stuff. It's like a middle-aged man who only relies on his experience and refuses to learn something new, which inevitably leads to stupidity. This is the most AI 101 thing. What do you mean? According to a new study, it's been mathematically proven since AI was a baby. AI models have been trained by scraping troves of existing online data. And the more data fed to a model, the better it gets. Are you sure? Certainly more knowledge is better, but I can imagine that a lot of words we find on the Internet do not contain much I'm imagining future companies with farms of people writing content for Ash to train on so Ash can write the content that those people previously would have written for publication. Verification of non-algorithmically generated content would be a very profitable concept. Haha, the AI gene pool needs some wild party animals. Party popper. I've heard people suggest that similar to websites using the file AI content could use a type file to tell bits that the data it is scraping isn't AI generated. The trick would be to ensure that all content providers and LLM hosts comply to such a simple standard. This is how we regain the upper hand. In a not-so-distant world where Ash are prevalent and producing data online, we will be able to think more clearly than these super-intelligent Ash. I only hope we haven't given them too much power by that time. Rushed face. People will always be needed to improve AI. It's still just a model. Think of it as a photocopier. You can't feed that indefinitely with copies and expect the result to remain decent. A lot of the data scraped from the internet is trash. Select data: publications, books, news articles, research papers. History is going to be much more high value than Reddit or Twitter posts. I'm confused as to why they want to hoover that stuff up for training AI. Degenerative AI. Inbred AI. This makes me want to go read a bunch of books I've never read before. So generative AI can get inbred too, huh? What happens when a man goes through his own portal? JPEGification of the data. Sounds like the same thing that happens to people in echo chambers, flat earthers, etc. This is how we ruin the internet. Dead internet theory is barely a theory today and will be 100 fact in 2-3 years. Artificial inbreeding. It's likely less true for material that is human curated. Chatbot inbreeding. It sounds like another article to scare off would-be AI users. All that article says is, continue using human input or something might go astray, but we're not sure. Maybe it's to trick us into thinking it's not a threat. TLDR: incest will cause AI to be retarded. So like our conservative, the models probably aren't degenerating. They're only losing its utility to us while turning into something else. Save the link to this. AI incest. Would this qualify as the first known diagnosed condition in AI systems? It does sound like a disease. Like a digital version of mad cow disease. To be fair, that's what's happening to people too now, that they only seem to get their information from social media and headlines. Why am I uncontrollably laughing at this? My understanding was that the big models were stopped training years ago and now they focus on weights and other elements of neural networks. Because they know the models get stupider and more racist if they learn from people directly. So it must remain a fine balance with one affecting the other. It's like we've injected another ecosystem, or is that a bad comparison? This is definitely intriguing, and it makes me think of how we have to harvest certain types of metals like lead from special places to ensure they aren't contaminated with radiation from nuclear tests conducted in the 20th century. Hard Fork discussed this in one of their recent podcasts. This is interesting. I wonder if liquid neural networks could help prevent this deterioration, since they work well with lower parameter models and are constantly training.